Okay, so we are done with the basic part of the website, and it'd be fine if everything was, if all screens were the same size. But now we have to worry about, um, so we can see here that when I move my window in and out, you can see that 1735, and you can see that we have some issues, and that is things start to jump around on us. So let's go ahead and start fixing things. One of the things you can see is that as the screen gets smaller, so here we go down to 1027, things start to wrap. So a couple of things we can do. One is we can start making the boxes smaller, but that doesn't seem to make any sense. But so it'd be nice if we made it so that when it got smaller, it wouldn't look so ugly. So we can see that we have an issue here. And that is that we really want to have some space between those boxes. And the same here. So let's go ahead and see where is our issue. And our issue comes in at right about here. So let's go ahead and see what would happen if I went down to my articles. So here is my article, and um, suppose I would do, where's my article? Section article. So here was what we have right now. And we have a margin of 0 top and bottom and 10 pixels left and right. Suppose I wanted to go ahead and put say a 20 pixel bottom margin. So when this thing wrapped, this space wouldn't be here, this would be pushed down. And that would make it look pretty good. So let's go ahead and see what happens when we do that. Uh-oh. Dadgummit. A bit of a blip there because my Sublime text froze up on me. All right, so what we're going to do is we have section article, and the margin is 0 up and down, but I want the bottom margin to be 20 pixels. So instead of saying this is up and down and this is left and right, I can do up and down, left and right. So it starts from the top. So the top I want is 0. Then on the right-hand side, I want it to be 10. And then the next one is going to be the bottom, and I want that to be 20 pixels. And then on the left, I want it to be 10 pixels. So we can do each of the sides. It starts from the top of the box, then goes right, then goes bottom, then goes left. So 0 top, 10 right, 20 bottom, and 10 pixels left. Let's do File, Save All, and let's see how that impacts our page. There we go. There we go. Nice. So now it goes like this when it gets a little bit smaller, and this when it gets smaller still, and that works all the way down to, let's see, where are we? Can't read why isn't it showing me there we go. So we go down to, I don't know, it stops. Okay, 8, 7, 6, and that stops for some reason. All right, so there's 350. Look at that. So this is takes us down to 352. That looks good. All right, so the middle boxes will work all the way for no matter how big or how small the big or small the screen is. So let's see what else is breaking. You can see that also the navigation stacks for us. And that looks pretty good, actually. I think let's go down and see. And then it stacks up like that. So that also is going to work well. The only other thing that we might want to do is, and actually I was thinking, well, I could put some space between these two, but I don't think that would look any better. So let's try it and see what happens. Let's go ahead and move out here. And actually I could do it within here. Let's not do it here. Let's do it here. All right, so nav ul li. So let's see, nav ul li. Those are the thing. We have a margin again of 20 each way and 0 top. So let's do 0 top, 20 right, 20 pixels left, and 20 pixels. All right. Let's see. Yeah, right. So this is now the bottom has 20 pixels. File, save all. Might not look that good. So let's see. See, let's put this on the bottom. And I don't really want to have that down there like that, except when it breaks. So now we're going to have our first media query. So I don't want this down there unless things break. And actually, let's do this. I think I like this even better. Let's go back in here and let's do 10 pixels and 20 pixels. Do 10 pixels up and down and 20 pixels left and right. Let's see how that looks. File and save all. And refresh. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. Looks like nice and even. And then as we push them across, you can see now they're going to be separated like that. All right, so not bad. And you see that's 335, so we don't care once we get to 350. And see, 350 is right here. You can see that, and we're going to fix this by making main 100% once we get down to a smaller size. And that will give us back this right here, and that will fix this right here. And that's going to happen at about 370. All right, so that's now working. That's now working. That's not working down here, so we need to fix this also. So this is okay until it gets to right here. And that's about 325. So what we want to do is, let's go ahead and fix that. So what I'm going to do is inside my footer, I have an iframe. So I'm going to do footer iframe. And if we go into our index, we can see that the width is 560 and the height is 315. I can actually remove it from here, Control X, and control it in my CSS, which is really should be. But it's not the right syntax, as we can see. So what we want to do is we want to have a max width. Where'd that go? Sheesh. Max width. Well, that's max height. Max height of 315 pixels. and a max width of 560 pixels. That's where it looks best. And then we can get rid of this. And then you can see that this is almost like a 2-to-1. So let's do a height of let's see. Let's do a width. I'm going to do a width of, let's do 95. And then we're going to use a unit of measure of okay, now the hiccup, V95 vertical width. So it's going to take the width of the window and make it 95% of that. Now, once it hits 560, it's going to stop because we don't want to get crazy. And then we want to do the same thing with the height. So the height, now if we made that 95 VW be a square, so we're going to make this, let's make it 65 VW. So it's the same width, but it's going to be shorter, so it'll be wider than it is. So let's put a semicolon there. Now, if we want to take a look at those widths, we can take a look at CSS units. And these are the different relative units. So EM, we might be using that in some of our projects. That is the font size, so it'd be 16 pixels. I don't use much of these other ones. REM is relative to the font size of the root element. So EM says, hey, it goes to the parent. So you can have it where things get exponentially larger rather than what your thinking is. So 2EM and 2REM all depends on what the parent is. But the REM goes to the root. So it doesn't make a difference if the parent, so if you have a, so if you have body as, which is the root of 16 pixels, right? And that's 1 EM. And if we do 2 EM for main, that's 32 EM. And then if we do 2 EM for header, that's actually, it's just, even though we're doing 2 EM, that's 4 times the size of the root. So we use REM to say, listen, don't keep exponentially adding to that. What we're using is this right here, and that is relative to 1%. So we're doing 95 VW, which is 95% of the viewport. And the other one is, I forget what it is, I don't know, 65% of the viewport, to keep the percentages in the same thing, but it's measuring the size of the window. All right, let's go back and see what we've done with that. All right, so I'll do File and Save All. And then I'll go back and refresh. No, that's not it. And refresh. All right, so you can see now it never gets as big as it does, but when it starts getting smaller, you can see that it starts to shrink. And you can see that my numbers are a little bit off. So it'll just keep on shrinking rather than staying big. But I want it to be a little bit smaller than that. So let's go ahead and actually we can take a look here and see where it should be. So here's my footer and here is my iframe. And you can see that we're using 95 VW. And let's make that smaller. So 88 might have been a better way of doing it. Let's see what happens when we get a little bit smaller. 350. don't know why it keeps disappearing like that, but it's very irritating to me.